Good morning students. We'll continue with the topic alcohols, phenols and ethers. In the previous video lecture on the same topic, we have discussed the structure of alcohols and methods of preparation of alcohols by using different methods. So today we'll continue with the topic, that is, we'll see now physical properties of alcohols. The first property is the lower members of alcohol series are colorless, volatile liquids with a characteristic alcoholic smell, and the higher members are waxy solids, they are odorless and tasteless. That is, the lower members means which contains 2, 3, 4 carbon atom. The alcohols which are containing less number of carbon atom, they are considered as lower members of alcohol series. So those alcohols are colorless, they don't have any color. They are volatile liquids. Volatile liquid means they are having very less boiling point, so easily undergo vaporization. So they are volatile liquids and they are having characteristic alcoholic smell. Whereas higher members here we consider the alcohols which contains more than 10 carbon atoms. They are considered as higher members and they are waxy solids, wax-like solids, and they are odorless and tasteless in nature. This is the first physical property of alcohol. The second physical property of alcohols is solubility of alcohols. The lower members are completely soluble in water, whereas higher members are insoluble in water. The lower members which are soluble in water are methanol, propanol, ethanol, propanol. These are completely soluble in water. That is due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding with the water molecule. There is a bond between, you can show it like this. Consider this is an alcohol. It is having hydrogen bond with the water molecule. So like this, there is a formation of hydrogen, intermolecular hydrogen bonding in the there is an intermolecular hydrogen bonding between alcohol and the water molecule. So because of the presence of this intermolecular hydrogen bonding, the lower members are soluble in water. When the alkyne group increases, when the number of carbon atom in the R group increases, this capacity will decrease. As the hydrophobic part increases, this will not allow oxygen to form hydrogen bond with the water molecule, and that's why there is a repulsion between the water molecule and this hydrophobic alkyl part. So that's why the capacity to undergo hydrogen bonding that will reduce. That's why the higher members are insoluble in water. That's why we say that solubility decreases with increase in the molecular. The third property is boiling point. Boiling point increases with increase in the number of carbon atoms, that is, as the molecular mass increases, boiling point also increases. So as the molecular mass increases means there is an increase in the number of carbon atoms. So as the number of carbon atom increases, surface area increases, so van der Waals force increases. That's why the boiling point also increases. So what is the variation? The boiling point increases with increase in the molecular mass. With the molecular mass. And when you compare the alcohol with hydrocarbon or ether or any other compound, haloalkane, which is having almost same molecular mass, when you compare with those compounds, these alcohols are having more boiling point, and that is because of the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding in case of alcohols. That is, an alcohol molecule will be further connected with the alcohol molecule like this, and because of this reason, because of this intermolecular hydrogen bonding, because of the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So what happens if hydrogen bonding is there? Whatever the heat we supply, that is first utilized to break this bond, then later the molecules will separate. They get separated, they convert into the vapor state. So that's why because of the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, the boiling point is more in case of alcohols compared to the haloalkanes, hydrocarbons or ethers of comparable molecular mass. And also remember that when you increase the branches in this alkyl group, then also there is a decrease in the boiling point. If, for example, if I take CH3, CH2, CH2OH. Okay, so this is propanol, and if I compare it with propane 2-ol, when I compare propane 1-ol with propane 2-ol, the boiling point of propane 2-ol will be less than that of propane 1-ol, as here we have branch or the surface area is reduced compared to this. The van der Waals force will reduce, that's why the boiling point reduces in case of propane 2-ol compared to the propane 1-ol. So when the branches are introduced, when we take isomeric alcohols, when we have branches, the surface area reduces and the boiling point reduces. Though the molecular mass remains same, but the boiling point varies because of the decrease in the van der Waals forces. The second point is chemical properties of alcohols. So alcohols are versatile compounds. They behave as electrophiles as well as nucleophiles. So how that we'll see now. When alcohol, see here, as there is a presence of lone pair of electron, it is electron rich species, so it will be acting as a nucleophile. So when it acts as a nucleophile, it means it is having lone pair of electron, so it can attack the electron deficient species. For example, I take here a carbocation is present which is electron deficient. It is in need of electron. So as there is a presence of lone pair of electron on oxygen, it attacks the carbocation and there is a formation of this kind of species, right? See here, oxygen now, as lone pair of electrons are given to the carbon to form a bond, the positive charge present on the carbon is shifted on the oxygen as it gives its electron. So there is a bond between oxygen and carbon now, and oxygen is having one hydrogen which is removed in the next step. As oxygen is more electronegative, it can't bear the positive charge, it withdraws electron from the OH bond and a compound, final compound, stable compound is formed and H goes off as H plus. So in this case you can observe that there is a cleavage of OH bond, right? There is a cleavage of OH bond. So because of the presence of lone pair of electron, alcohols are acting as a nucleophile as they are electron rich centers. So when they are acting as a nucleophile, there is a cleavage of OH bond. So you will be studying the reactions which are involving the cleavage of OH bond. In all those cases, alcohol will be acting as a nucleophile. In second case, what happens? Protonated alcohol, if I consider, see, RCH2OH is a alcohol. When it is protonated, when H plus is attached here, what happens? We get the protonated alcohol. So when this protonated alcohol, when it is treated with a strong nucleophile, what happens? See, here H2O is a stable compound, water. So oxygen is carrying positive charge which it can't bear as it is more electronegative. So withdraws electron from this carbon oxygen bond and goes out as H2O. So it goes out as H2O, and what is left now? Carbon will be having positive charge. So this becomes electron deficient. Now this electron deficiency is attacked by the nucleophile. Okay, so we get RCH2Br. So the nucleophile attacks to the carbon which becomes electron deficient by the loss of water. So in this case what happens? This protonated alcohol will be acting as an electrophile. Means when we are taking alcohol in presence of an acid, because of the presence of lone pair of electron on the oxygen, it gets protonated, obviously, right? So that protonated alcohol will be acting as an electrophile. By the loss of water, the carbon becomes electron deficient, which is further attacked by the nucleophile to get the stable compound. So in this case, there is a cleavage of carbon and oxygen bond, and in all such reactions, the alcohol is considered as alcohol will be called as an electrophile, or it is acting as an electrophile. So like this, alcohols can act both as nucleophiles as well as electrophiles, and you are going to study about the reactions which involves the cleavage of OH bond as well as the reactions which involves the cleavage of CO bond. Okay. First type of reactions are reactions involving cleavage of OH bond. In this, the first one is acidity of alcohols. So when any acid is treated with, or any substance, if you call it as an acid, it has to react with a metal and it has to release dihydrogen gas, right? You will know this one. So when alcohols are treated with active metals like sodium, aluminium, so such metals, when it is treated with such metals, what happens? There is a release of dihydrogen gas. Okay, so alcohols on reaction with sodium, it releases dihydrogen gas. So this shows the acidic character of an alcohol. As a metal is reacting with one substance and as it is releasing hydrogen gas, the metal releases hydrogen only when it is treated with the acid. So this is now considered as an acid. Correct? So when alcohol is treated with a sodium metal, there is a formation of sodium alkoxide with the release of hydrogen gas. So I can write an example for this. CH3OH, methanol, when it is treated with sodium, there is a formation of sodium methoxide and hydrogen gas is released. Okay? Just will balance it. So methanol is treated with sodium to form sodium methoxide and dihydrogen gas is released. Similarly, I can take ethanol, which gives sodium ethoxide with the release of hydrogen gas. So from this reaction you can tell that alcohols are acting as an acid. Another example I take here, it takes tertiary butyl alcohol. If I take tertiary butyl alcohol, this on reaction with aluminium. Okay, on reaction with aluminium. Aluminium is when it is forming a compound, it will be in the +3 state. So here, whereas for the alkoxide ion will be having -1 charge. So this will be having +3 charge. So how it will combine? By the replacement of hydrogen, we have to just put the aluminium, right? So CH3, CH3. This is connected with the oxygen. Hydrogen is now replaced by the aluminium. As this is having -1 charge and this is +3 in charge. So what we have to take? One aluminium will be connected with 3 tertiary butoxide ions. Okay. So like this we get the compound and there is a release of 3 moles of hydrogen. And we'll balance it like this. So 2 moles of aluminium and 6 moles of alcohol we require to release 3 moles of hydrogen gas. So when tertiary butyl alcohol is treated with aluminium, there is a formation of aluminium tertiary butoxide with the release of hydrogen gas. So from these reactions, it is clear that alcohol is acting as an acid. So alcohol is treated with a base. Okay. So what happens? As oxygen is more electronegative, it withdraws electrons from the OH bond and H goes out as H+. So that H+ combines with this base. Here, so it obstructs a proton. It is a base, so it obstructs a proton and forms BH. And here OH bond is cleaved. H goes out as H+. So there is a formation of alkoxide ion. Alcohol on reaction with the base, there is a formation of alkoxide ion. So as it loses a proton, this is considered as a Bronsted acid. Alcohol is a proton donor. It donates a proton. So that's why it is considered as a Bronsted acid. That proton is obstructed by the base and there is a formation of a conjugate acid. And this alkoxide ion, which is formed by the loss of proton, is considered as conjugate base. So when alcohol is treated with a base, we are getting a conjugate base, that is alkoxide ion. And the stability of this conjugate base decides the strength of this particular alcohol, whether it is stronger acid or a weaker acid. Strength of this acid is determined by the stability of the alkoxide ion formed by the loss of proton from alcohol. If it is more stable, then it is stronger acid. If it is not stabilized, then it is a weaker acid. If we compare different alcohols, primary, secondary and tertiary, what happens? See here, in case of primary alcohol, we write as RCH2OH. Oxygen carries lone pair of electron. So when here we have one alkyl group which is giving electron towards carbon, and carbon further gives electrons towards oxygen, as it is an inductive effect which is available up to 3 carbon atoms, right? So here, as electron density is increased on the carbon, further on the oxygen, OH bond polarity decreases and it becomes less acidic. When you compare it with the secondary alcohol, if you compare this with the secondary alcohol, what happens here? We have this kind of linkage, right? So, two alkyl groups are attached to the carbon which is connected with the oxygen. I can write it like this. Correct. So, here we have two alkyl groups attached to the carbon which is connected to the oxygen. So here two alkyl groups are electron releasing in nature. So electron density on carbon increases. Further it shows inductive effect. So electron density, electrons are moving towards oxygen. So electron density on oxygen increases. So it increases the electron density. And again the polarity of OH bond decreases. So H will not go out as H plus so easily. If you compare with the tertiary alcohol, what happens here? Carbon is connected with 3 alkyl groups. It may be same or different, which is connected to the OH group. So here we have 3 alkyl groups attached to the carbon. So 3 alkyl groups are giving electron towards carbon. So the electron density on this carbon is further increased compared to the secondary, so that the electron density on oxygen also increases. There are 3 alkyl groups which are giving electron to the carbon, and all those electrons are moving towards the oxygen. So the electron density is highest in this case. So the polarity is very less in case of tertiary alcohol compared to the secondary and primary. So what happens to the polarity? Polarity is further decreased and it becomes weaker acid. So this is least acidic compared to the secondary alcohol compared to the primary alcohol. So what happens to the order of acidic character? The primary alcohol is stronger acid than that of secondary, than that of tertiary alcohol. Among alcohol and water, which is more acidic? See here, alcohol is written as ROH, water is H2, right? So here, in case of alcohol, oxygen is connected to alkyl group on one side, whereas in water there is only hydrogen atom. So in case of alcohol, there is a plus sign effect, that is nothing but as oxygen is attached to the alkyl group, it is electron donating in nature, which increases the electron density on oxygen atom, and that further reduces the polarity of this. Polarity is reduced. So that means polarity is reduced, means what? This H will not go out as H plus so easy. As in case of water, what happens? There is no such any effect which increases or which decreases the electron density. The oxygen electron density remains same and it withdraws the electron from one of the bond and forms OH minus and H plus. So it is easily donating the H plus ion. So that's why water is a better proton donor. It is a better proton donor. That means what? It is a stronger acid than that of alcohol. Correct? It is stronger Bronsted acid compared to the alcohol. It can be given by using this. It is illustrated by taking the reaction between alkoxide ion and water. When alkoxide ion is treated with water, what happens? There is a formation of alcohol and OH minus will be released. Okay, see here, as I said, this is a better proton donor. So this gives H plus and that is obstructed by the alkoxide ion. OH goes out as OH minus. So this is an alcohol form. Here this is considered as an acid and it is taken as a base, and alcohol form is a conjugate acid. OH minus hydroxyl ion is considered as a conjugate base. Okay, and you remember that the alkoxide ion is a stronger base than that of hydroxyl ion. That's why we tell that sodium ethoxide is stronger base than sodium hydroxide. So sodium ethoxide is stronger base than that of sodium hydroxide, as it accepts a proton very easily compared to the hydroxyl ion. So this is considered as a stronger Bronsted base compared to the sodium hydroxide. The second reaction of alcohols which involves the cleavage of OH bond is esterification reaction. So in esterification, what happens? Alcohols react with carboxylic acids in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid. There is a formation of an ester. So esters are having fruity odor, sweet smell will be there, and that smell is the identification or the confirmation of the formation of esters. Okay. So what is esterification? Alcohols reacts with carboxylic acids in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid gives esters. So this is esterification. So what happens when we take alcohol? It is treated with carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid is represented as RCOOH. So I will take here, instead of R, I will take R-COOH. Okay. So this is RCOH. This is the carboxylic acid. So in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, as it gives a proton, in presence of this, it acts as a catalyst. In presence of this, the dehydration takes place. There is a loss of water. So as I said, there is a cleavage of OH bond. So this is lost as a water molecule, and there is a formation of RO connected with the carbonyl carbon of carboxylic acid. So like this, there is a formation of an ester. RCOOR. Okay, so this is an ester and water is a byproduct. So dehydration takes place when alcohol is treated with a carboxylic acid in presence of an concentrated sulfuric acid, mineral acid. There is a formation of an ester on dehydration. So this is esterification. Even instead of using carboxylic acid, we can also use anhydride. Acid anhydrides can be used so that the same reaction takes place. If you take acid anhydride, same reaction you can write here. Acid anhydride is represented as RCOO twice. Okay, so this in presence of a acid, there is a formation of an ester. The byproduct is another carboxylic. So like this, an ester will be formed. I'll write one example for this. If ethyl alcohol is treated with acetic acid, CH3COOH, in presence of acid, what happens? There is a loss of water. H from alcohol, OH from carboxylic acid is removed as water. So there is a connection between C2H5O connected to the carbonyl carbon of the carboxylic acid. So we get like this. Okay. So this is the ester form. and water is removed as a byproduct. So this is esterification reaction. And here the formed esters on hydrolysis in presence of acid, they can give back the alcohol and the carboxylic acid. So it is a reversible reaction, and that's why we can show it like this. Okay, and this esterification is also done in presence of acid chloride. Okay, acid anhydride, as well as we can use acid chloride for the esterification. I'll write the reaction here. Alcohol is treated with acid chloride (COCl). Even this reaction results in the formation of an ester. So this takes place in presence of pyridine. So what happens? There is a cleavage of OH bond. So H from alcohol and here Cl from the acid chloride is removed. So there is a formation of ROCO dash. So this is also an ester with the release of HCl. So as this is an acid, if it is present, further the decomposition takes place, and that's why the pyridine is used to neutralize the released HCl. So that forward reaction takes place, and this is the ester formed in the process. So this is also considered as esterification. We are getting ester by this method also, by the reaction of alcohol with acid chloride in presence of pyridine. Esters are formed. Pyridine is used to neutralize the HCl.